Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Alaska's virtual Disability Pride celebration. Today is Saturday, and we are celebrating the third annual Alaska celebration here. We are celebrating not only Disability Pride, but also the Americans for Disabilities Act, which was passed July 26th in 1990, 30 years ago. This month, July, is Disability Pride Month, and we are celebrating a whole week of adventures, and you're more than welcome to look back and scroll down under discussion here to find out what different groups have been performing and being interviewed this week. Today, we're going to have Stand Up for Mental Health, which is a Vancouver-based comedy troupe, and I just want to read something really great. It kind of gives the background of who these guys are. So Stand Up for Mental Health was founded by award-winning Vancouver counselor and stand-up comic David Grenier. I hope I said that right. A program that teaches stand-up comedy to people with mental health issues as a way of building self-esteem and fighting public stigma. David has run his program in 50 cities in Canada and in the US and in Australia, and has trained over 400 comics. And he himself has performed over 500 stand-up for mental health shows. His work was also featured in the Voice Award-winning CBC documentary, Cracking Up. By teaching comedy to people with mental health issues, Stand Up for Mental Health aims to reduce public stigma and spread a message of hope and empowerment. People with mental illness are always being told what they can't do. In this show, you'll hear what they can do. And now, before I introduce Juno, I just want to make sure everybody knows that this, at the end of today's comedy routine, that at 12:30, Gwen Bradshaw, a musician from Anchorage, is going to interview Juno, who is the lead. We're going to get confused here because we have our capital is named Juno. Our lead comic is also named Juno. So anyway, we're going to have Gwen Bradshaw on at the end, and she's going to do some interview. And we also have a live or a pre-recorded video of Gwen doing an interview talking about her life. So it's a real full show today. Tomorrow, just letting you know that all day Sunday, it's going to be our last day of Disability Pride, and we'll be concluding with a live interview with Temple Grandin and recorded interviews with Eric from Portugal the Man and Alaska advocate Maggie Tibor. And also tomorrow, we'll be hearing from some other Alaskan live musicians, and then concluding with the Disability Champions Awards. So again, if you want to know all about that, go down below this image, or you can keep scrolling until you find all the events of the week, and watch for tomorrow too. So, and now it's time to meet Juno, an awesome instructor with Stand Up for Mental Health, who will be introducing today's comedians. And please give a warm welcome to Juno, everybody.
Hi. Super stoked to be here, guys. Yeah, all of us. We've been waiting for what, like a month and a half, 2 months to be here, and all of us we showered. Well, they did, I didn't, but that's okay. But yeah, so a little bit about me. I'm bipolar, so that means that this is gonna go like one of two ways. I'm gonna wait for half of you to get that joke. It's really great to be in Alaska. It's nice to be in two spots at once, not be in psychosis. For once, it's just so nice. It's yeah, it's good. Another thing about me is I used to for a long time be a chemical consultant. Now, I just say that because it sounds so much better than telling y'all I'm a crackhead. I did community outreach. Okay. I did get clean, don't worry. I did get clean. I have 7 years clean, which is insane. And I noticed a few things about like all you people out there that, I don't know, made healthy decisions in your lives and didn't partake in the rock fest that I did. You eat. Like food, you eat. I even bet some of you have done it today. Yeah, it's because you have teeth. It really sucks because I actually just had a root canal like a couple days ago. So I'll get over it. Anyways, so my nephews and I, we are like actually having a race to see who gets all their like a full set of teeth first. Yeah, I'm gonna lose to the older kid, but the 1 month old, like I'm coming for him. You know, I'm gonna withhold my love for the other one until he's like 20 or whatever. You know, it actually got so bad that I had to steal my neighbor's dentures. I know that sounds harsh. It's not, because he had just died. So and besides, hey, I had to work for those things. Do you know how, like, okay, first off, who the hell buries a guy with his dentures? Man, I washed them off, don't worry. We're looking good today. So to recap, I'm mentally ill. I'm a recovering addict. One laugh on that one. Thanks, Brian. Recovering addict. So yeah, I'm a mentally ill. I'm a recovering addict, but I also live on disability in government housing, and that can only mean one thing. I'm single. Yep. So, anybody in Alaska looking for a visa? Because this time, I swear to God, this time I am getting married on purpose. That's how this is going to go down. And just in case you're not aware, if you're bipolar and super happy about life, seriously listen to the family and friends telling you to question those life-altering decisions. Whoops. Love you, Mom. But yeah, so that's me. And I'm so stoked to be here, you guys. It's a privilege for us to be able to have Rachel here translating for us, and to be working with Terry, and to be working with the rest of the Stand Up for Mental Health group. And yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to kick it off to our first comic. And this first comic, he's a very cool guy. He likes to dip his pizza pockets in alphagetti. So please welcome Bryan Hansen.
Yeah, hi. My name is Bryan Hansen, and I've got a little bit of the old autism. It's given me many gifts, and one of the big ones is something called executive dysfunction. That means I'm never going to make it to middle management. Yeah, I'd make a good CEO, though, seeing as how I don't really care about other people. This is my impression of a nearsighted autistic man trying to read your facial expressions. You look annoyed. Yeah. Has everyone heard about these things called feelings? Yeah. And did you know that there are other emotions besides anger? See, 6 months ago, I found out that all these little aches and pains that my body goes through, well, they actually mean something. See, when I get a pang, I gonna get these pangs here, or the warm, fuzzy feeling. That means I'm feeling love. Yeah. Yeah. And when I've got tennis elbow, that means I'm hungry and it's time for the buffet. See, that's where I like to eat like a muppet. See? Mm, mm. Sadly, I don't think the buffet is ever coming back. Okay, that was. Yeah, that's a little sadder than I thought it would be, but okay. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm over 40 and living with my parents. It sucks, but it's got some good points too, basically, because I dodged my midlife crisis by saying I'm a really experienced millennial. Yeah, those millennials, they love my pickup lines. But it's got some like, because I dodged my midlife crisis.
Hey, Terry.
By saying,
Terry, you want to mute your mic?
I'm a real.
There we go, Brian. Keep going.
Okay, sure. Millennials love my pickup lines. It's like, yeah. How old are the parents you're living with? Huh? Yeah, it's like every date is a potluck when you're broke. Yeah, well, my parents let me live in the garage. It's even got its own entrance. My dad just bought me a full tank of gas. We could borrow his van. It was the one I was conceived in. Yeah. I've developed some rules for adulting with autism. Turns out, like, rule number 1 is like, when you melt down, don't break stuff you can't afford to replace. And rule number 2, when you melt down, maybe you're just hungry. Yeah, well, rules 3 through 6 are stuff I've learned to filter out. Yeah. I guess I'm telling too much truth. But anyway, rule number 7 is smell, but no teeth. People may think you want to bite them. Rule number 8, not biting people is one way to show that you respect and care about them. Yeah. Finally, rule number 9, practice your grunting. Because even if your words are working, they can still fail you. You always need to be able to express yes, no, happy, sad. Okay. When it's time to leave, I do a cute grunt that sounds like, girl, bye-bye.
Awesome. Give it up for Bryan Hansen. And also for Rachel for getting that nearsighted joke down pat. That was awesome. Yeah. So up next, we're going to throw it over to Kevin. So Mr. Kevin Scow, please join us.
Hello, everyone. So as a remarkable up-and-coming comic, and I couldn't pay Juno enough money to say that for me, I even create jokes as I fall asleep, and they work perfectly on stage by making the entire audience fall asleep. We are literally on the same wavelengths. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I learned that if left untreated, sleep apnea can increase the risk of high blood pressure, stroke, and also social isolation from talking about it all the time. People think that marriage is hard, but the only really hard part I found is filling out those complicated divorce forms. They told me comedians can get laughs if they have a personality. I really need to work on that. Now that I have a significant other, I don't talk to myself nearly as much as I used to. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if I even like myself anymore. I feel like I'm drifting apart from myself. My girlfriend and I are on a diet. We have a cheat meal every 21 days. So we decided to have a practice cheat meal just to make sure we could do it right. Too bad this was for one meal only, but luckily we had leftovers. Next time we need to make a bigger cheat meal, one that will last the entire week. My girlfriend is hot, and she thinks I'm hot too. But apparently this means I need plenty of rest and lots of fluids. She called me a stud muffin. This confused me. I don't even own a bakery. Wait, did she confuse me with Dunkin' Donuts? My father recently informed me how my successes in life were because of his influence. I agreed and I told him, "You're so right, Dad. Sometimes I think I wouldn't even exist without you." It was discovered that I could fool a polygraph test. I thought this was really cool, but the technician just said I had a lie ability. Just to make sure as they tested again, it seems I also have reliability.
Oh.
If one Domino's pizza closes, do they all end up closing? As a comedian, my psychiatrist finds me hilarious. When I told him that I may be at risk for suicide, he didn't respond. Apparently, he is still waiting for the punchline. I was told I have a problem accepting criticism. I disagree. People tell me what I need to improve upon. I ignore them. Then I eliminate them from my life. There's no problem. I like to advise my friends and family on how to deal with stress. And as a disabled unemployment person, sorry, I don't know what that was. As a disabled unemployed person, that sounds better. I feel I excel at dealing with stress. In fact, some days I go shopping and I cook on the very same day. Thank you all. You've been an amazing audience, and back to Juno.
Awesome, Kevin. Except for those rely and liability jokes. Great stuff. It's a thing with that joke and me. We love Kevin, just not when he tells that joke. No, I'm just joking. We love Kevin. We love Kevin. He is a liability, though. Just joking. All right. Yeah, good job,
tries
Kevin.
not to laugh at that joke.
I know. I try every time not to laugh at that joke. I swear to you, I was really glad I was not on camera, but I forgot I wasn't muted. So we're going to move on to our next comic, who is a ninja who tells jokes. Please welcome April Soon. Woo!
You can't tell from looking at me, but I am a hoarder. I had 200 plus banana boxes of my stuff stored floor to ceiling in my second bedroom. My psychiatrist said I needed to work on my headspace. So I moved to an apartment with room for 500 banana boxes. And now you can see my head. I took part in a 4-hour study on hoarding last week. They paid me $40. Just think how many banana boxes I could buy for that money. Unfortunately, I became really competitive with the other people in the study. I'm a much better hoarder than I was before. I started hoarding their stuff too. I also had depression. So I had negative thoughts like, you're so fat and ugly, you look gross and disgusting, and you're such a loser. With that sort of talk, who needs a boyfriend? But my psychiatrist taught me to be kinder to myself. So then I started saying stuff like, I'm a good person. I love myself just the way I am. And I deserve that Krispy Kreme caramel crunch donut with sprinkles. I was finally able to get off meds, but I've been so irritable, cranky, and angry. My friends want me to get back on antidepressants because they think the meds are going to stop me from being what I truly am. Irritable, cranky, and angry. I was single for a very long time, so I read the book, Are You the One for Me? Knowing Who's Right and Avoiding Who's Wrong by Dr. Barbara DeAngelis. I figured that since she's been married 5 times, she's an expert on what not to do. One of the exercises in that book was to create a personals ad for what I was really attracting. Here's a synopsis of all the boyfriends I've ever had. If you are emotionally unavailable, immature, unemployed, and narcissistic, I want to meet you. If you live in another city, or better yet, another country or continent, that's a bonus. And if you can't make up your mind about dating me, that's okay, because I love to put my life on hold, waiting for your call. The only reason I agreed to do this show is because you're in Alaska. So all you good-looking Alaskan guys, call me. Dating during the pandemic is really different. For instance, take online dating. Now when I swipe left, I get the irresistible urge to sanitize my hand. And when I swipe right, I find myself messaging the guy with, I get so turned on trying to visualize you without a face mask. I then send him a seductive nose pic. And what about physically meeting someone? First base, we stand within 6 feet of each other. Second base, we take off our masks to see what we really look like. And third base, we hold hands with disposable gloves. Home run, no sanitizer. And finally, being in the Stand Up for Mental Health Society comedy class is great. It's exposed me to many other more interesting mental illnesses I want to try out.
April, you can try mine any day. As long as you're prepared to make a paper mache squirrel army, we're good. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna move on to your next comic. Who likes deep fried salad? Because that's a thing. Michael Morse.
Thanks, Juno. Hi, Alaska. So I've been trying to lose weight since I was 11 years old, and it's not going very well. At this rate, I think I'll never fit into that bathing suit I bought when I was 10. I was thinking about trying the caveman diet or the Paleolithic diet. So I've been eating nothing but Flintstones chewable vitamins and Post Fruity Pebbles cereal. I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to exercise. I don't do any sports that require equipment. Also, I don't do any sports that don't require equipment. I do have pretty good lung capacity, though. I can eat a lot of lungs before I get full. I'm so fat that every time I gain weight, they have to update the Guinness Book. I'm slowly closing in on those twins. They say that when life hands you lemons, you should make lemonade, which I take to mean that if something bad happens to me, I get to eat a bag of sugar. Lately, I've been getting into whole foods. Like the other day, I ate a whole turkey. It costs a bit more to take care of yourself. I think the results are worth it. I'm a little bit mad at Subway right now because they discontinued my favorite meat, the boneless pork rib. Now, they said it's because it's seasonal, but I think it's because the boneless pig has been hunted to extinction. It's not like it could run very fast. Hey, who likes 90-degree turns? I do. So I've been depressed all my life, and that means that when I was a baby, I was like, wah. And I had the crisis hotline on speed dial on my Fisher-Price telephone. They say, do what you love and the money will follow. So I've been sleeping a lot more. Cha-ching. When I do get rich, I'm going to get one of those cool kidney-shaped swimming pools. Actually, I think I'll get two in case a family member needs one. I'm a big believer in oral hygiene. I brush my teeth every day. It's important to keep their fur nice and glossy. As a champion breeder of teeth, I know that. And finally, I'll leave you with this. I just finished making a movie about a burrito. And that's a wrap. Thank you.
Giving you the look for the burrito, you know that.
I know.
Because now I'm hungry. That was Michael Morse. All right. And so we're going to move on to your final comedian. She has brought her support animals, and her name is Brianne Fung.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Juno. These folks have helped me through a lot. As a person who struggles with their mental health in many aspects of my life, the pandemic and quarantining and social distancing has made it really extra hard for my friends. They call me up like I'm so bored, and I'm not trying to be rude. Maybe you thought of this already, but why don't you try staring at a wall and ruminating for 5 hours? For those of you who don't know what ruminating is, it's like chewing on a really thoroughly cooked idea, but because you've cooked it for so long, you just got to keep chewing it and chewing it and chewing it. Let me give you an example. I like to ponder big questions like, what's the ideal amount of time to spend pep talking yourself out of bed? I see my friends posting pictures of their food. They bake really fancy stuff with witty descriptions, great lighting, filters, and I'm like, yeah, how can I get my bed sheet to look more like a tablecloth? And which streaming service on my laptop will provide the best illumination for my instant cup of noodles? Excuse me, cup de la noodles. I can call it the fancy name because I added a hot dog. My place is a bit of a mess, but I know where everything is, like my nail file right by the couch. You wanted me to be specific? Okay, technically under the couch, behind the pizza box, next to the 2013 taxes. When I mention to coworkers I struggle with mental health, or when people with mental illness find out I have a job, everybody's like, what are you, a compulsive liar? Why would I lie about having a mental illness when I could just lie about having a degree? Specifically, I've experienced depression, anxiety, and OCD, or obsessive compulsive disorder. And when I share this, people are sometimes surprised because my family has no history at all of any mental illness ever being discussed. Actually, my family, when my mom was pregnant, because of the way I was sitting in her stomach, they actually thought I was going to be born a boy. They didn't know I was just man-spreading in the womb. Oh, you're having a feminist. Suddenly my dad's like, pro-choice. People look at me sometimes and ask me about my background. I've worked up my response. Look, it's none of your business. Juvenile records get wiped at 18 and I'm done my pardon. When I go back and piece together all those high school rumors I heard about myself, it starts feeling like a game of Clue. She hooked up with the basketball team during halftime in the locker room. It was actually during the game in the cafeteria with the co-captain of the B team. Super strict parents were like, why not the valedictorian? I was a high achiever though. I did extracurricular sports, performed in school plays, took advanced classes. In fact, I was the first one in my class to pass their first pregnancy test. And I didn't even have to study. So then my dad kind of disowned me, but to be fair, in Cantonese, that's a synonym for love. Did you know 3 out of 10 will become pregnant at least once by the age of 20? This number might have changed since I learned this in high school, but I remember thinking back then, yeah, I already know 3 teen parents from the other school, so I'm good. For clarification, I didn't fail sex ed, I failed stats. If there's any new parents out there, then you all know about the pee and the poo, the irregular sleep, constant feeding and crying. Man, those first 20 years are rough. Sometimes people will be in shock when they find out I have an adult son. It blows their minds. They start examining me. They start doing weird math equations in their head. So I have to explain myself, reassure them, like, it's okay. You're right. I was young. It was hard, but I worked hard. And look at us now. Look at him, almost all grown up, almost ready to move out. He'll be 42 tomorrow. When I was a teen parent, some people really thought I just didn't have the judgment to raise a child, but it actually all worked out because when his grandparents couldn't babysit, I just drop him off at the great-grandparents, which was super convenient living across the street from the cemetery. It takes a whole community to raise a child. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing.
Brianne. It's right. It does take a whole community. So that's what happened with me. All right, guys, come back on so we can all say hi and bye. And so I don't know about you guys, but I just had a super duper amount of fun. And again, thank you so much for Rachel for doing that, and Gwen, hi. And yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but I had fun. So
A lot of fun. Thank you, Alaska.
Thank you so much for having us.
And
Great visiting Alaska.
let's give everybody a clapping hand so everybody can hear you. I love the laugh track that we all had going.
that was great.
So next up, I'm going to ask Juno to keep her screen on, and Gwen Bradshaw, she's going to keep her screen on. I'm going to duck out here in a minute. If everybody else turns their screen off, then we will have both Gwen and Juno on the screen for an interview. And Gwen Bradshaw, I just want to make sure everybody knows who she is. She's a musician and a songwriter from Anchorage, Alaska. She's the subject of a documentary film called About Face, about her life. She's a mental health advocate. She and I have been friends for a number of years, and I've seen her perform, and she's going to be featured in a very short video, about 15-minute video at the end of today's presentation. So first, though, she's going to I'm going to introduce her, and she's going to interview Juno, and the two of them are going to have a conversation. But for sure, stay tuned to the end of the presentation today for Gwen's video at the end. So Gwendolyn Bradshaw, I'd like to introduce you. I can see you. I know you're in a
Hello.
your mask on. And
Yes.
Juno, there you go. See you guys.
Bye.
Awesome.
Hello. Hello, Juno.
Nice mask.
Thank you.
Make it yourself.
I kind of bought it at a store, wrapped it around my face.
You should just say you made it. Sounds better.
Yeah, I made it. I made my own tie. my
Oh,
own
there you
bow,
go.
all by myself. I can tie a knot. It's awesome.
You're one up on me then.
Well, I'd like to ask you a question, Miss Juno.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, like, how are you able to figure out the jokes and like take it out of real life and be able to like perform? Like, how do you joke? And especially like the time like this, like I'm just so curious because I mean, I don't have that gift. Could you explain that to me, please?
Well, I think everybody's different. You know, I know that a lot of like some of the performers that you just saw have completely different styles, right? So some of them are one-liners, some of them, you know, are from their own experiences. For myself, I tell stories is usually what I do, and because a lot of crazy stuff happens, and I laugh. I genuinely just start laughing, or I file it in the back of my brain to go like, okay, my life really sucks right now, but that's going to be so funny later, right?
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's usually what I do. I mean, because you know, for me, it's a lot easier to remember your set when it actually happened.
Do you have a notepad or anything?
No.
Like, do you record this? How do you keep that in the back of your
No.
mind to just
Well,
use it as material? That's amazing.
Yeah, like if something happens, you know, I'll just basically go, dude, you know what just happened to me? And then that's basically me practicing my set, you know.
Awesome.
So I just keep telling, oh my God, you have no idea what happened, right? And yeah, so I show up to class usually with no jokes. And then unless I have a good story, you know, that's when I get a new set. Everybody else actually puts the effort into it.
So you get the material feedback from the audience to be able to just, you're really in the flow.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's kind of nice, you know, and you'd be surprised that like how people can actually relate to it when you say stuff out loud, you know. People, you know, because I have a bit about being a mentally ill recovering addict living on disability in government housing, and somebody asking you, so what do you do for a living? And that's not what I want to get asked, you know.
I understand and can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for making me laugh about it.
Yeah, so you're like, oh no, we were gonna be friends. You know, so there's stuff, and people end up being able to relate to it, whether or not. And you know, I tend to assume that, or not to assume that people aren't going to be able to get what I'm saying. You know, somebody will get it. Hopefully, more than one makes a better show.
I get it. Yeah. Absolutely. There's so many stories like, you know, like us, and that don't get that time. You know, and it's becoming more relatable every day.
Oh, totally.
More and more people,
especially with the pandemic right now. I've been laughing because I mean, not about the pandemic. That sounds absolutely horrible. Sorry, Alaska. What I mean is that you know, I think us people who have mental health or addiction issues or are used to chaos, and are used
Huh.
to unpredictability and used to not leaving your house. And, quarantining is basically like getting committed, so we handle this a lot better. I'm thriving,
Yahoo!
So, and
Yay!
it levels the playing field, I think, because, finally everybody else is as screwed up as I am, Nice.
You have friends. You have
Yes.
lots of friends now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you could take, like, when you're not doing comedy and you're just out like shopping, like at a store, like you create material from those everyday. Is that what happens? Daily
Yeah.
experiences you have.
Pretty much every day I go and do something. If I do leave my house, I go and I laugh every day. Something always makes me laugh. And I think it's like, for me, it was, I'll tell you a quick story. And maybe if my brother's watching, he'll laugh too, or get mad. I'm not sure. But when I was a kid, I surprisingly did, like, I barely spoke until I was 9. I was just terrified of people, but I was really angry. And I think I was maybe 4 or 5. And when you have an older brother and you just, right? Well, yeah. Brothers.
I don't have an older brother, but I had older friends.
Yeah, I have 4
Put
older
it that
brothers. Mental illness. That's why.
Whoa.
But yeah, so my brother was 2 years older than me, and we got into, one of those 4, 6-year-old fights. Stupid. I don't even remember what it was about, but I picked up one of those little cars, that they race cars. And I remember I threw it at him like from 3 feet away, and I smoked him in the face with it. And I like just full of rage, and he went, "Ow, I feel good." Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And I went from angry to laughing hysterically in a second. And I went, well, that's better. Like, I was like, well, I'm going to go with this one. Right. So, it took me a long time to balance out the everything is funny to, not everything is a joke, but
Wow.
if I can find one, I'm going for it. So,
So you discern it. You have like this discernment, like there's boundaries in your mind of what not to cross, or do you have that, or
yeah,
that kind of thing?
Growing up, and maybe in the last like 5 or 6 years, I think I'm almost in my years now, because they say like you stop developing when you start using drugs. So I'm almost a teenager now. Yeah.
Sweet 16.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's hang out sometime. We can like have a slumber, like get all the teenager 40-year-old slumber party.
We should get some old magazines of Teen Beat or something and like put them on our walls. Like, who would have been?
Awesome.
Justin Timberlake or something back then? I can't
Lisa
remember.
Frank.
Oh,
Lisa Frank. Those like really poppy pink and unicorn posters and Justin Timberlake. I love that.
The JT,
Yeah,
that's
cool.
I just try, like, I think it's shifting your perspective into, I mean, we're all, I shouldn't say we're all, but I'm fond of feeling sorry for myself. I used to. It was like,
me too.
What I mean? Where you're like, I'm throwing a pity party and I actually don't want to invite anybody because it's all about me. Right. And
yeah.
And then I was told, to show up to life because it's not just about you, you're there for other people. And I was like, oh crap, that seems like a lot of work and responsibility. But man, it changed my life, and I have the family and the friends that support the hell out of me. So, yeah, I'm lucky. I'm super lucky to be where I'm at.
That's where all the material is, right? That's where all your humor comes from, is life. Imagine if we were spending all our time doing pity parties. That's not real funny.
No,
that's not funny. That's boring.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't even, like, the food sucks, Yeah. I mean, you have to make your own hors d'oeuvres.
You stop taking showers. It's just...
Yeah, it's good times.
Good times.
Yeah, it's good times. You're all invited until you're not, But, I got to say, like, my family, it's a running joke, which they did not find funny until last couple of years. But my dad worked in a crisis unit. My brother's a methadone doctor. My mom was carried, and my sister-in-law is a nurse. So like it was like a long-term investment. If they gave me $50, like, just give me $50, man. Like, I don't understand what the problem is, right? Yeah, they didn't find that funny until recently. So, but yeah, I'm super.
But I
lucky.
find it funny. I mean,
Oh yeah,
you got an audience here.
Yeah, exactly. I know my mom's probably just sitting there going, nope, still not funny.
No, is she on the Zoom meeting? I'll
No,
see her in the chat. We're
she
good.
should be on Facebook. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
She starts commenting, we gotta go. But
Say something nice about your mom real quick. It'll cover
my
you.
mom, honestly, I will adopt my mom out to people who need a mother. Because my mom is one of the most special people on this planet. You have no idea how amazing she is. And so I am now on Facebook Live trying to adopt my mom out. Okay, so that's weird. But yes, she's the kind of person, and my dad too, that if they weren't my parents, I'd want to be friends with them. Now, before, no. They wanted me to be safe and care about myself. And I was like, no. But now, I mean, I love them. They're just amazing. So, and they have a dog. So how could you not love them?
Animals help.
Yes, animals help.
Do you have a pet?
No. So if anybody in Alaska wants to give me a dog, I've been looking for a dog for 3 years now. So help a Canadian out. I'll send you maple syrup or whatever it is that we're cliche about.
Little dog, big dog.
I want a huge dog, but I live in a bachelor suite, so that's apparently not okay. And so I'm gonna go for a small dog because it's about the dog. It's not about me, right?
Right.
That whole selfish thing that you're not allowed to do. So, yeah, no.
Be selfish. It's okay. No time left. Be selfish.
I'm so good at being selfish. It's almost disgusting. So I really gotta stop doing that. I'm so glad you're here, Gwen. I wanted to meet you. And now I am.
Bless your heart. Well, it's good talking to you.
Yeah.
Good talking to you, man. Nice to meet you, and I hope I see you in person in Juneau.
Yeah.
On a trip.
Yeah, I know. It's nice that you guys named a city after me. I mean, I'm honored, but.
Oh, you don't live in Juneau. Where do you?
I'm in actually Vancouver. So really what I should be doing right now is wearing yoga pants and hiking and talking about stuff that really isn't important. But yeah, we are based out of Vancouver. And
I apologize. Yes, we did. We named a city after you, Juno.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yes, I should come visit. I mean, if anybody wants to bring me up there,
come on up anytime.
Well, maybe not right now.
It was good talking to you. But... I hope I crash into you sometime in person. Yeah. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys having us
Thank
on.
you.
It was such an honor to help you out and to be here and to let us speak. It was just a joy. So thank you so much, Terry and Rachel and Gwen. Amazing. And Lacey at tech support, who isn't lazy.
Yes. Hardworking. Tech. Thank you.
All right.
There were a lot of people who helped put this on, and names in a second. I really want to thank you, Juno, and I want to thank all the comedians for joining us today. It was a wonderful, wonderful show. You guys totally killed it. You guys perfect. And thank you so much for standing up for mental health. And that's the world. And I really appreciate that when people acknowledge that a stigma is a real deal with mental health. And you guys are doing your part to help end stigma. And I really appreciate that. And I want to thank David Grenier. Is that how you say his last name?
Shout out to David. Yep.
He started the whole Stand Up for Mental Health, and you can find them on, I'm guessing YouTube, but for sure Google Stand Up for Mental Health, and you can see a whole.
We're on Facebook as well. Yep. So you come check us
totally
out. All right.
And so thanks to you, thanks to Gwen for conducting that interview. We're going to follow this right now with an interview, a pre-recorded interview with Gwen Bradshaw. And I want to introduce her in just a second, but first I just want to make sure I read the names of everybody who is on the planning team who helped put this international event together. Mm-hmm. We have Lanny Momsen, Nikki Marcano, Wendy Cloyd, Katie Wheeler, Rick Nelson, Maggie Winston, Lucy Oden, Sabrina Richmond, Holly Yancey, Lacey Rodriguez, who is our Czech person today, Rachel Robinson, who is our interpreter today, Colleen Peterson, Kim Champney, Garrett Dominic, Travis Noah, Jenna and Tom Crafton, Sydney Krebsbaugh, Heidi Lieb Wilson, Anna Pieper, Anna Smith, Karen Brunello, Cynthia Hensley, Early, Gwen Bradshaw, and me, Terry Tibbet. I'm your host today. And we just want to make sure everybody tunes in tomorrow for our last day. It's at 2 o'clock, starting at 2 o'clock Alaska time. And without further ado, I want to make sure we introduce Gwen Bradshaw, Gwendolyn Bradshaw, who is Alaskan musician and advocate, a disability advocate. And she's also a songwriter. She's currently working on an album and a memoir about her upbringing in Anchorage, Alaska. She also is the subject of a documentary called About Face, which she'll mention in the video to follow. And it just, everybody stay tuned. It's about a 15-minute video, and we really hope you'll enjoy. And again, thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Pretty big disconnect. My name is Gwendolyn Bradshaw. I am a musician and an artist. I like to knit teddy bears. In the process of writing a book about my life, and I'm making an album. Well, my disability, I have a couple of them. One is PTSD from trauma that I experienced in my past. And also 60% of my body is covered in 4th degree burn scars. It began with the burn accident with the scar tissue. I was 10 months old. My mother and father went out for camping during Memorial Weekend back in 1980. They went to Peters Creek Campground. It's shut down now, but Peters Creek is still there. When the campground was open, they camped out, enjoyed the memorial holiday, drinking and had fun. But later in the evening, my father went inside the camper to start up the heater and all the nighttime necessities for sleeping. My mother was outside holding me, and she threw me in the campfire. I was 10 months old, so I was in the campfire, laid on top like a baby. She didn't just throw me in, she laid me in the fire. She took off and ran to the creek and tried to drown herself. But my father scooped me up. He heard the screams from the fire. So he came out, scooped me up out of the fire, put me in the front seat of the pickup camper, and drove to Providence Hospital as fast as he could. At the hospital, I had 50% chance of living. 60% of my body was covered in 4th degree scars, burn scars. And that gives me a skin arthritis. So there's pain and surgeries involved with that too that happen periodically. What happened to my mother, though, is she survived. She didn't die. An off-duty firefighter was at the campground with his family and heard the commotion and investigated. And he looked around and saw a woman laying on top of a bed of rocks, passed out. He went in and revived her, and she too was brought to Providence Hospital. So we were both at Providence Hospital dealing with it. My mother's disability is and was schizophrenia. Postpartum psychosis possibly happened, and the stress of the hormones triggered her schizophrenic episode. She was documented as to saying she heard a voice from God to lay me in the fire. There's challenges of not having a mother in my life. So I didn't really experience the tender, loving part. growing up. That had challenges for me as a child because I didn't know how to express emotion. Crying, yelling, screaming kind of happened a lot in the household, but it really made no sense to me. I was raised, thankfully, by a blood relative. That's my dad. But after that trauma experience, he delved pretty deep into partying and drugs and alcohol. So he was pretty vacant. It was a lot of iron fist kind of upbringing. Like, if I was caught with a mistake, I got beat up for it. It wasn't like I was educated on how to do something. No patience for that. So that having that disconnect with emotions and logic, reason, I went into public school as a really different child that I didn't know what I needed really to be a part of the group, but I was pretty much an outcast because I couldn't relate. I couldn't relate to anything like the newest toys because we were poor, or the latest fashions because I picked up clothes wherever I could. No, pretty big disconnect. Really been consistently from as far back as I can remember. I prayed to God a lot, and that's been consistent all my life. The one thing that kept me going. What helped me cope in the adult part of my life is also the talk therapy I got from therapy starting at 18 years old. I have over 20 years of once a week therapy. So I should have a doctorate, an honorary doctorate in psychology. It really helped a lot to be able to talk it out, process it, no matter how ugly it is. At 10 years old, I started playing violin, and I'm self-taught. So that added a whole physical thing for me to connect to something, and it helped me connect to like people and groups because we were focused on music, not fashion, not politics, nothing. It's just music. So that helped me connect with people. That was really nice in a physical way. Really, music not only connects me to people, but it connects my brain. Like, I have these little misfires going on because of trauma and things, but music somehow can like really rewire my brain. I give a lot of thanks to music. I write songs, sometimes with lyrics, and usually the lyrics are, I try to make it delicate, but it's usually trauma related. It's to give my side of the story in a really like poetic way without offending or scaring someone. No. My movie, About Face, you can find out more about it on aboutfacefilm.org. You can purchase a copy there or watch it on Roku. It began in 2006 and it was for the search of my mother. In 2009, the movie was completed and shown worldwide. Iceland, Israel, Europe, everywhere. Went everywhere. The main theme of the movie About Face is finding closure to a lot of questions I had about my past, unanswered, unresolved questions that therapy couldn't crack. And I got those answers. Currently, I have a part-time job, and it's as a test administrator for giving tests out to people. And I follow these protocols and parameters to make sure like COVID-19 safe. And I've kind of stepped away from music teaching for a while until I do my album. I might go back to it in the future. It's in my back pocket. But right now I'm just kind of part-time job, trying new things out. It just starts with prayer, because in that moment it's happening. There's no one there to save you except prayer. And even when the trauma gets re-triggered, even if it's different people, different situation, that trauma can be triggered and put you right back to the original trauma. And that even requires prayer. Just stepping away from it for like 3 seconds to say a little prayer, to get away from the tripwire. And things start to fall in place after prayer. Like, I met cool people in psychology, like my therapist. It's a Providence Behavioral Medicine group. That's where I've been going for 20 years. It started off with prayer. Because if I didn't pray, I wouldn't have sought out that physical help. So. This song's called Why. It's like my old favorite. I walked in and out the door. I saw you on the floor. I laid the phone by your head.
is it mine? Why? Why?